Yüzyılın en iyi endüstriyel tasarımcısı olarak gösterilen Karim Rashid, Verde Stone Gallery ev sahipliğinde Uluslararası Seramik Banyo Fuarı'nda bir söyleşiye konuk oldu. Nilay Karakaş'ın ünlü tasarımcı Karim Rashid'le yaptığı özel röportaj geliyor ekranlarınıza.
Hello, Mr. Rashid. First of all, welcome to Turkey. You're one of the most leading designers of the world, and we know that design is not just a job for you, but more of like a lifestyle. So can you tell us the importance of design in our everyday lives? What place does it have, or what place should it have in our everyday lives?
You know, we design everything on this planet, right? So we design cities, we design urban transportation, we design our products, our furnishings, our clothes, our technologies, we design satellites. Design is the way that we progress and evolve humanity. But we can also design ourselves too. So really, design's simple in a way. It's just a program, you know. It's like you have some criteria, or you have a mandate, or a brief, and you answer those brief, and you find solution, right? So that's what design is, and design has always evolved us. You know, the first housing or dwelling ever by a human was when we went in and carved a cave. We were designing. That's design. You know? And now today with the digital age, I think it's opened up the notion that we can design ourselves too, where we can really take care of our body and our mental well-being, our spiritual well-being. So design is every aspect of daily living.
Your designs are very unique, colorful, and fun, most of them. And do you have any inspiration for your designs? If so, what are your inspirations?
First of all, I think the reason they are sort of colorful, you use the word fun. I don't try to push humor into my work, but what I try to do is to make people feel alive. So I believe in this sort of phenomenological idea that if I can do something that's original and interesting and experiential, it makes you feel alive. You know, and I think design has that power to do it. I always think, you know, if you listen to a pop song that really makes you feel alive, or you read a really good piece of poetry or watch a good film, design is also that. It has that power. How am I inspired? Well, you know, inspiration is a complicated thing because it's from everything and everywhere. So on one hand, I'm sort of inspired by, you know, my childhood, my education, all the books I ever read, every film I ever watched, every city I've ever traveled to. You know, design, that's all forever inspiring. Or sometimes it's inspired by the machine that's going to produce the good, the production method. Or it's inspired by me finding a new technology or a new material. Or it's inspired by me watching social behavior of how now somebody sits in a place versus the way we used to sit, you know, because we're evolving. So, you know, it's hard to say, you know, specifically what inspires you. You know, I think the way to be inspired is to keep your eyes very open like a child. And sometimes I say, you know what, I always say I don't come from this planet. You know, I'm like the ancient Egyptians, you know. They just like came down, because I don't believe in Darwin. But the point is that if I observe the world from another perspective, more objective, then I can design something inspiring and original and new.
So the countertops, island kitchen, and info desk designs that are exhibited today are made of porcelain and quartz materials. Yes. Was working with porcelain and quartz materials different from working with other materials that you usually work with? What are the effects of porcelain and quartz on your designs?
You know, these are good materials because they're, you know, 100% natural. You know, they're recyclable. They're hygienic, they're easy to maintain. There's a lot of good qualities about porcelain. They're lighter weight than stone. You know, there's a lot of advantages. And I've worked with them many, many years. This is not something new for me. At the other point, the other side is that they come in sheets. So it's all very two-dimensional. So, you know, there's a limit to what you can do with it. If I could curve it and carve it like you can with marble or solid block, that's a different story. But at the same time, it's relatively economic too because it's in sheets. So, you know, I ended up just designing forms, but I designed for them some very fluid forms just to say that, you know what, we can soften the material. The material's hard, but we're soft. You know, so it's like an extension of us. I always believe that. The reason I always like soft design or organic design is because we are volatile, soft, asymmetrical. You know, so you don't want hard things around you, right? So you know, it's like it's funny. It's ironic when we design the bathroom. It's all hard surfaces, really hard, dangerous surfaces, and we're naked. We design the living room, we're dressed, and everything's soft surfaces. You know, so I always sort of am critical about our contexts, about our spaces, about her, and I always think, how can I soften them up? So if I'm working with hard material, I try to make them appear soft.
You say for the longest time design only existed for the elite, and I have worked hard for the last 30 years trying to make design a public subject. So after 30 years, would you say that this issue is in a better position and that progress has been made?
Yes, and I won't say by any means I did it alone. The whole world's been working this way, you know. If you look at really good design that's mass market, you know, look at Apple as it's not. I would say Apple is still a little bit elite because it's kind of expensive, but the innovations and the interface and everything's so seamless and nice and well done and global. You know, you could argue companies like Nike, you know, with some of the technology of the shoes, everything. But in general, industrial design, robotic production, etc., has become so efficient and so smart, and we're making very high quality at very democratic prices, you know. So I think, yes, we've gotten there actually, you know. I mean, the stool you're sitting on, this stool is less than €100. It's injection molded, it's very efficient, it's probably relatively indestructible, it's super lightweight. This is the world we kind of live in now. It's comfortable, it's soft in a way, it's warm because it's a polymer, you know. So I would say we're there, but now the next step is to be there in a more responsible way too.
And lastly, can we learn your thoughts on Turkey and Turkish designers?
I love Turkey. I've come here back and forth now 20 years. So I've been to this country maybe 30 times, okay? And I'm still not quite observing originality. And what I mean by that is that, and let's not talk about maybe fashion, but if I talk about this built environment, for example, the trade show we're in now, Turkey is excellent at copying things. They have the know-how, the technology, the rigor, the discipline, the production methods, everything. But for them to produce original brands and make their brands global, they're not very good at. It's not within the DNA of the culture, you know? Now, maybe there's a turning point now, you know, but at the same time, I remember 10 years ago, I met with 800 furniture manufacturers in Antalya and gave a talk about how to create originality, how to create a global brand. And in those 10 years, I haven't barely of those 800 companies seen any of them do it. So, and it's not that hard to do today, to make a global brand, you know? So that's a bit of, I want to say, my disappointment, because, you know, you're talking about the second largest furniture manufacturing in the world. This comes out of Turkey. The textile industry is enormous, but the question is, where are the global fashion designers that grow out of here? With all that said, I would also argue, if you're a Turkish company, let's say you make bathroom, you don't necessarily need to have a Turkish designer. You can have a designer from anywhere. You know, a big turning point happened in Italy. Before 30 years ago, all the Italian products and furniture and everything, 99% were designed by Italians. And then the Italians started to use talent outside. Today, if you walk a furniture fair or bathroom fair, you'll find that majority of the products are not designed by an Italian. I designed a lot there, many. But that's not the point. The point is that the brands are still Italian. So you can have a very good Turkish brand that can be powerful overnight and work with me or some other designers that are global. You don't need to just work, you know, interiorly, because the world has opened up, you know. And I don't really believe anymore that there's even a language of Turkish design, language of Italian design. I think that's all gone. I think our languages are global now. And in fact, if you want to be successful, you kind of have to design in a global vernacular too, or you'll only address a very small market of your culture.